allow me to welcome you as well after President von der Leyen, and it is good to see so many people in this very packed room that are interested in agriculture and the future of the agri-food sector, and it is very clear we are listening. I am listening to your suggestions how the future should look like and how we can shape this future together. And we promised a different approach in the vision for agriculture and food, an approach grounded in reality where dialogue is key. And today is a great opportunity for everyone to have their say on the future of European food and farming. And my wish would be that during this conference we can build some consensus around the way forward. And since I presented the vision in February, I have engaged in a non-stop tour of farm visits around EU member states. Meanwhile, I've been in 14 member states in less than 5 months, so that was rather ambitious, but as well it is good to get the feedback from the sector of what we have presented. And on the words I've seen, some have said it is too vague, the vision. And the vision is, of course, a starting point. It's the pathway for future actions that we have to shape together. And since there needs to be room as well for your input, it is very important to say this as well. And then also I can say that the vision has been well received so far in the member states and in the discussion with the different stakeholders. And while we have started to already deliver on the initiatives announced in the vision, there is a lot more to do. And the title of our first plenary session says it all: from vision to action. And we want to move ahead with all the vision projects so that Europe's farmers and food sector feel the impact and the benefit. And ultimately, that is what matters. And we have 5 years of work ahead of us, so it is not just one. We will now mention some of the main projects for this year, but the delivery or conclusions of a lot of other important initiatives will come in 2026 or even in 2027. And I think there of the review of the directive on unfair trading practices or the protein plan, just to give you an example. And I heard once that a farmer has to be an optimist or he would not still be a farmer. And more than optimism, we need as well pragmatism and realism in our policy making now. And that, of course, takes us to the simplification. This is a priority of my mandate. The President has announced it as well, and we are working on the presentation of a first simplification package that will, in principle, be presented next week already. That will be a simplification focused on the common agriculture policy. But since you have read the vision, you have clearly seen as well that there will be, by the end of the year, a second simplification package touching as well upon other policy areas other than the common agriculture policy. And I really want farmers to feel the difference that less red tape can make their daily work easier. And this is a task for all public authorities at EU level, but I'm looking at the ministers as well at national and even regional level. There can be simplification done. Not everything is due only to the European level. And I will look as well at an on-farm simplification of requirements so that various situations and farming practices are better recognized. Organic farming, for example. I will streamline support for smaller farms by making greater use of simplified payments. And it will boost competitiveness with improved access to financial instruments and support, and of course digitalization, which is still largely underused. And however, on all the visits that I have made, farmers often tell me that their greatest problem is not the CRP rules, but that come from other policy areas that I have just mentioned. And so it will be important to look at as well and there to get your feedback. What is going wrong? What is making where you have requirements to notify things twice, 3 times, 4 times, that needs to be cut down, and I think the once only principle will be a guiding principle there. And also one last point on simplification, we should remember that this is a shared responsibility between the Commission and the Member States, so working together it will be important there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, generational renewal is a subject that I feel very strongly about, and it comes up frequently during my farm visits. Just yesterday, I exchanged with a group of young professionals active in farming and rural areas here in Brussels, and this was in the frame of my second youth dialogue. And over the last 10 years, the EU has lost more than 3 million farms, and around 9 million farms remain. And I think it is our common duty and to create the opportunities and the environment that these 9 million farms can remain and can thrive. And if we do not act to secure farming for future generations, we will lose even more of those farms. And that would also threaten the EU's strategic autonomy in food production. The President has mentioned it. We are still a net exporter, but this is not something we should take for given. And after the summer, we will present a strategy to address the main barriers that make it difficult or unattractive for young farmers to enter or to stay in the sector. And the EU will work on improving support for young farmers to start their operations. But they need some other basics in place first. They need access to knowledge, access to credit and land, and also to rural services. And this is something very important. The rural areas and as well the rural development remain very important. I met with the European young farmers from Seja, and there was a female dairy farmer from Finland, and she said to me, well, I have to decide either kids or cows. And that is something I think where we need to think very strongly as well when we think about the future of the common agriculture policy, that strong rural areas remain very important. On knowledge, we will support motivated and skilled young farmers to develop viable, innovative business plans and to turn their farms into profitable business. On credit, reducing barriers such as high borrowing costs and the high risk perception of farming will make it easier for young farmers to invest in modern, sustainable farming practices. And for that, we need the support of the banking sector. And this is why we are working very closely with the European Investment Bank, and I want to thank the European Investment Bank and especially the Vice President Vigliotti, who is today with us, for helping us in that sense. It is not the first action. We have already presented, and you have presented, a 3 billion package, especially for young farmers of loans to support them to start their business. Then on land, this is obviously vital for setting up a farm, because without land it is not possible to produce. And land is often not only expensive, but also continues to be used or processed by older farmers. We will tackle the issues also facilitating land acquisition and leasing, as well as land market transparency. And the technical works are already advancing to launch the pilot project of the EU Land Observatory before this summer. And then on rural services, we will improve the attractiveness of rural areas with quality of living conditions and strong social services, cultural opportunities, solid infrastructure, including broadband coverage. And I want also to point to the opportunities offered by bioeconomy here. By developing this sector further, we could create up to 400,000 new highly skilled jobs by 2035, mostly in rural and coastal areas. And I had the opportunity to visit, for example, Finland, which is really a pioneer in this sector, and I think we can learn and export a lot of this knowledge. And on all these points, like for simplification, we need national authorities and sometimes even the regional ones to play their part as well to create these important synergies. Another topic that has been very polarized, or in a polarized matter being discussed, is to livestock. And that is one of the themes for later in the conference as well. Today we are launching the work stream on this area, and your views today will be very useful input for that. And today's discussion is the first one of a series that we will have with the stakeholders and relevant authorities to build a common future for our livestock sector. Because the EU livestock sector requires a long-term vision that respects the diversity of livestock production, and this is a sector where innovation can as well bring tangible benefits. And we will work to make the sector more competitive, resilient, and sustainable, taking different situations and territories into account. So in some areas, livestock farming is the best thing that you can do, because when you have grassland, when you have hilly lands, livestock is the best opportunity and possibility to farm that land. And I think to mention Finland again, I was in Finland and in Lithuania, where I could see as well firsthand how important livestock is for farmers' incomes and for maintaining as well the viability of rural areas. We have shorter vegetation seasons, and that, of course, livestock can help there to bring as well benefits to it. But also, I think we have a very threatening trend when it comes to livestock. Over the last 10 years, livestock has gone down by 7.8% in average in the European Union. In some member states, it's even worse. So I think it is a tough job. And for those of you who are farmers, livestock farmers, you know this best. But there is a trend that we need as well to slow down or to reverse even. And also on resilience. Farming is, of course, made of opportunities, but also of threats and of risks. And we cannot have a discussion on the future of agriculture without addressing resilience. And therefore, it is important that we improve risk and crisis management to adapt to climate change, for example, because farmers are the first victims of climate change, and after a natural disaster hits, farmers need as well to help. We need to help them to restore their production potential. And I was in Valencia, and I saw firsthand, Luis, as well the devastated areas. Farmers are patient and strong, and we will be rebuilt, but we must as well support them. And when speaking about resilience, I would like to mention the EU Water Resilience Strategy, where Commissioner Roswell is also leading the work, and I will address water scarcity and reduce water waste and pollution. And the Commission will present this important strategy for agriculture early next month. On the CIP and the future MFF, let me conclude with some remarks about these two elephants that are, of course, in the rooms, and many of you have already approached me before this. We met today. And, of course, the Commission will present its budget proposal this summer, and the legal proposal on the future CAP will come along with it. And as we said in the vision, the CAP remains the essential tool for supporting the competitiveness, resilience and sustainability of the agriculture sector. And the future CAP should be simpler and reduce excessive bureaucracy for farmers. And it should be more targeted, shifting from conditions to more incentives, while giving member states more responsibility and accountability on how to meet our common objectives. And since farming income is still too low compared with other wages in the economy, we intend to keep direct income support. And direct payments will continue to be the main tool to support the farming community. But again, it should be better targeted. And regarding the new multi-annual financial framework, the EU's future budget will determine largely the shape of our farm policy. And we need to make sure that Europe does not lose any more farmers or see any more land abandoned. My position is clear. We need a dedicated budget for agriculture. To conclude, on the future of farming and our policies, I want to say, let's not fix what is not broken. And I do not want a revolution, I want a meaningful evolution of our policy. And for that, we need to work together, and I'm very interested today to hear your views during the entire day. And I, of course, wish you a very successful day ahead, and I really am very grateful that you all made it to Brussels, and as well grateful to all those listening online to give your input, because the project that we are now shaping for the future of agriculture and food needs to be our common project. Therefore, I need your strong input on that, and I'm grateful to get this today. Thank you very much.